Good afternoon, everybody. If you can see and hear me, just say good afternoon in the chat, and we're gonna get started. All right, so let's jump right into it. Okay, guys. What I noticed out of all of the quizzes, consumer seemed to be the one that most people struggle with. So they were the lowest grade so far. So I hope after we go through these questions, it helps a lot. Don't forget, as soon as we finish all nine, because it's nine topics, once we complete all nine quizzes, I recommend that you guys try to do all of them one more time and as much back to back to back. And see if you could raise your score higher than you originally got. Okay. All right, so let's jump straight into it. Excluding sales tax, how much will be saved when a video which costs $12 is sold at 20% discount? So you see, when it comes to the consumer question, there's a lot of words. So some words are put in there to distract you because look at this one question. It got in tax and discount, but you got to pay attention to the one that they specifically want, right? So what they're talking about is that they want you to find out how much will be saved when a video which costs $12 is sold at 20%. So that means they want the quantity of the discount. So as you know, to do so, if the discount is 20%, 20% is 20 over 100 times the cost, $12 over 1, right? So this is how you would break this down quickly. You cancel out your zeros, right? You said 2 times 12 is 24, and 24 divided by 10. You should know that if you divide by 10, you move the point, and if you don't have a point, you put a point to the back and you move it to the left once. So that's how you would end up with 2.4. But because we're dealing with money, it would be 2.40. So play it. One of the things that it is easy to do when it comes to these type of question is leave down here as 10 and 100, because once you multiply the top, you just got to move the point. And you know, if it was 100, you would have moved the point twice. If it's 10, you move the point once. If you got it, say got it. So here our answer is $2.40, which is C. $2.40, which is C. Right? I hope everybody see the trick in doing that quick multiplication, especially when it comes to money and percentages. All right, so let's move on. A lot of people got this one wrong, and I think it's because they overthink the question. So let's take a look. If 250 EC is equivalent to 1 US, right? So what you need to pay attention to is that you're going from EC to US. Look at what happening to the numbers. You're going from 2.5 to $1. So that means this direction is division. And from US to EC would have been what? Multiplication. And then you need to realize that you're either multiplying or dividing by the unit number. So if 1 is 250, that means you're multiplying or dividing by the 250. So that means we got $20 divided by 250. So let's find a quick way to do this. $20 divided by 250. Everybody following? How do you divide this quickly? You're asking yourself, you got different ways you could do this, right? You got different ways you could do this. You could first say, break this down here. Round this off to a whole number. What is the easiest number I could make this to? I could make this into $5. So that's multiplied by 2. So that means if I multiply 250 by 5, I get $5. So if I divide 20 by $5, that will give me 4. So I just multiply 4 by the same 2, which can give me 8. Let me do that again. Instead of trying to divide by 250, you could divide by 5. So that means every time I divide by 5, that's actually 2 pairs of 250. Everybody see that? So even though I get 4 pairs of 5, remember it's not $5 we divide by 250. And how many times can I get 250 from 5? 2 times. So that's how we get 8. Everybody see that trick? Talk to me, talk to me. Everybody understand that trick? That just did there? That's how you multiply quickly. That's what gonna save you in the exam. That's the kind of working that you're doing paper one because you don't have a calculator. Nobody expect you to go try to do all of that in one sitting. Another way to do it is the division way, right? You should know you can't divide by a decimal number. So I'm gonna show you the decimal way. So you know, sorry, the thing keeps sticking. So to divide by a decimal, you have to turn it into a whole number. So you move the point twice. If you move the point twice here, you gotta move the point twice here. But look at this now. This number is a whole number, so the point would be at the back. So when you move it twice, what you think gonna go in these two empty spaces? Zeros. So that will be 2000 divided by 250. Then to make this even easier, I cancel a zero, so that would be 200 divided by 25. And some people, you could think about how much $25 in 100, that's 4. And then yeah, if you have $100 got 4 25s, how much we have? We got 200. So that means that's times 2. It's technically the same thing. If anybody see what's going on, times 2, so that will give you 8. So I find the first way was easier. I don't know which one y'all think was easier for you, the first one or the second version. Yeah, the first one, right? So yeah, hopefully this is showing you how to do your quick calculations. All right, let's go. The cash price of a television, so that's the CP. Sometimes it's good to write out certain things to the side so it's easier to remember. So CP, cash price is 350. When bought on hire purchase, a deposit, and you should know the formula for hire purchase. Hire purchase is equal to the deposit plus monthly installments, right? So so this is the price if it's cash, that's how much you would pay. But for hire purchase, let's see how much you would pay. So a deposit of $35 is required by 12, and you know how to find the monthly installments. The total monthly installments is 12 months by 30, since every month they pay $30. So that would be 12 times 30. Now, how do we multiply this quickly? You said 12 times 3, so you put back the 35. You said 12 times 3 is 36, and then you put back the 0, so that's 360. So you got 360 plus 35, and you know that's an easy, quick addition. That is 395. But this is not the question. They didn't ask us how much the higher purchase price is. They asked how much was saved. So obviously we need to subtract the cash price and from the higher purchase price. So that would be 350 from 395. Please note that sometimes they would have put the 395 here. So always go back. Like even with me and my attention issues, I always have to go back and read the question to make sure that I am finished or I have reached the answer they asked for. So in this case, they asked for how much is saved. So that means we got to subtract. So that would be 5 because 0 from 5 is 5, 0 from 9 is 4, and 0 is so our answer is D, 45. All right, moving on. How everybody doing so far? Is everybody okay? Because I know I'm moving a little fast, but I'm hoping everybody is following, right? So just waiting for some quick feedback. If you're good, just say good. Let me take this opportunity to just check in and see who all is in class today. Ladies and gentlemen, regardless of how you did in paper 2, we're going to come down to whether you pass or not is how strong you do in paper 1. And based on the scores that I'm seeing, to be honest with you, only like 1 or 2 persons hitting the numbers that I need them to hit. So if you know you're only reaching like halfway or a little bit above half or under half, you know that means you got to do some practice. That is why I did this online for you to be able to do it easily on your phone, so you could do it as much times as possible. Actually, some people actually did it more than once as practice, and I see them getting higher scores every time. So whenever you're free and you could just do one, bang it out and get it practicing, okay? That's the only way you can get prepared for paper one. All right, so let's go. A company employs 20 persons as gardeners and clerks. So what I'm going to do is just quickly go gardeners plus clerks is equal to 20. So the mean daily wage, and you know what mean is? This is something you got to know. Mean means I add up everybody wage, and then I divide that by how much wages. And obviously, because it's 20 people, that's how we're going to look. Well, no, I can't give you nobody no hard copy. You're gonna have to print it yourself. So I'm gonna send you guys full paper ones. The only one I'm gonna be printing is the one that everybody gotta come in. We're gonna have a face-to-face. Maybe we're gonna have 3 face-to-face classes where you're gonna actually do the test, question 1 to 6, once we finish these online quizzes. So as soon as we finish our online classes where we go over every quiz, as you guys see up here. All right, you can see the tabs. Everybody confirm if you can see the tabs up here. So let me just do some quick things to show you how we're going on. We got about 16 people in class, and these numbers don't even reflect correctly how much people do it, because some people did the questions more than once. So 13 responses, and I think it's about 10 people out of the 16 did consumer. Yeah. 11, I think 2 persons did it twice, so maybe about 8 people did algebra. 10 persons did, because 9 did vectors. Only 4 did measurement. And these last 3 may send them to y'all yet. So these are the last 3 ones, the last 3 topics. And I don't know if y'all notice, I send them in order. So for example, the first one was questions 1 to I think 11. 2 was like 11 to 14, 15. 3, which is consumer, topic 3 is 15 until like 18 or 20. Yeah. So I don't know if anybody noticed that, but I literally broke down each quiz in the order that it comes in the exams. So you should start having an idea of what your strengths and weaknesses are and how to expect the order of the questions to come in the exams. So after this class, I'm going to send out the last 3. And again, I can't force anybody to do practice. It's up to you if you want to pass or not, to be honest. So they're there for that purpose. And as soon as we complete them, I'll let y'all know what dates you're gonna have physical class to do the paper one in its entirety to see how much you get out of 60. But I'm hoping that everybody could get 55 and above. 55 should be a minimum score. I'm telling you, if you don't get 55 and above, your chances of passing is not going to be good. Because paper 2 is so easy, they're going to mark very, very, very hard. So even if you think you did good, you got to understand, because they're marking so hard, yeah, we don't know what to expect, right? So let's get back to it. So as I was saying, where we did this. Yeah, this is a question a lot of people got wrong. So let's go. The mean wage of all the employees is $22.40. So that means after they add up, and you got to remember, to find the mean is 2 operations. It's addition and division. And when you do that, you get back the answer, which was 222. Let me just put here. This is the sum of the wages divided by 20 equal 2240. So let's make sure everybody understand this. Everybody understand this part here. When they add up all the wages and they divide by how much people, the average is 2240. That's something you have to write down, because then if we want to find in here one of the things we have to do is go backwards. And you know, when you go backwards, it's like transposing, doing the opposite. So they say if each of the 12 gardeners, so what does that mean? If it's 12 gardeners, that means that 12 times a certain wage plus, you should know the other numbers, because if it's 20 people in all and 12 is gardeners, how much would be clerks? That means 8 clerks times their wage, right? And when you add up all of that, divide by 20 is what going to give you the what? The 2240. So you see, this is just more details. So we take this and break it down here. But then they tell us the gardener's wages is what? $26. So that means this has a number. This have 26. So that means what is our X? Our X is this number. So from here, what do we have to do, everybody? The T word, we got to transpose. So based on what we know, what do we have to get rid of first? We got to get rid of the thing that blocking up here. What is up here? 20. So we got to multiply by 20 on both sides. So that means 22 times. If you got 2240, what's a fast way of multiplying this by 20? Ain't doubling the number and moving a point. Because it's the same thing as saying, hold on, 20 is the same thing as 2 times 10. Everybody see that? Do not go and try to multiply all of this by scratch. So you say 2 times first. What is 2 times 2240? That's an easy double. So 22, double of 22 is 44. And the double of 40 is what? 80. Everybody following me so far? Talk to me, please. So then we just multiply by the 10 now, and we know what do you do when you multiply a decimal by 10? You move the point once. So that means our answer, so this is going to cancel, this is going to cancel. So we're going to end up with 12 times 26 plus 8x is equal to 448. Because, you know, that's what it's going to become. Right? What do we do next here? Anybody quickly? Anybody? When you look at this, what's the next move to transpose? What can we do next? What operation do we do next? Alain, I don't know, eh? Alain, I don't know. Me ain't in the mood to be begging nobody to answer. You see how we got 11 people in here? I would literally remove everybody who not talking and teach 2 people. I ask a question. I hate when a teacher now we got class and I ask a question and nobody in answering. Or y'all just sitting and waiting for somebody else to answer. So me moving on until more people respond. And if you don't respond, I'm gonna remove you from class. We have 12 times 26 plus 8x is equal to 448. What do I do next? In the next 15 seconds, I'm starting to remove. And once I remove you, I'm blocking you from joining back the class as well. May I know why I have to say that for y'all to respond? Right, let's keep it moving. So we multiply. So this one, yeah, there's no running away from that. We gotta multiply this because it's no way for us to do this shortly. So we said 12 times 26, but the smarter way is to put 26 to the top, 12 to the bottom because of the digits. 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. We multiply by the 1, so you put a 0 first. 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 2 is 2. So we add in. So that's 2, 6 and 5 is 11, so 3, 12. So we got 312 plus 8x is equal to 448. What's the next step now? These are the things everybody should know what to do. We're trying to find X, so we transpose. Yes, we have to say, how do we transpose? What do we do if we transposing? Gav said carry over the 312. Is that correct? So excellent. When you carry it over, it becomes a minus. So that means we're subtracting. So we're going to end up with, let me come here. 8x is equal to, you subtract 312 from this. That's an easy subtraction. So that's 6, that's 3, that's 1. So that's 136. So what do we do next? We divide by 8 on both sides. So let's go 136 divided by 8. 8 can go into this ones, 8. I'm doing this because I don't know if I could, like how strong y'all are with division, right? I hope y'all practicing these kind of things as well. Don't wait until your exam to realize, man, really strong in division because you're going to do a lot of it. So when I subtract 8 from 13, what do I get? I get 5. 5, bring down the 6, and then 8 into sorry, 8 into 56 goes how much times, guys? These are things you need to know without a calculator. And if you don't have a calculator, like that's why these are the things you need to know out your head, okay? Excellent. 7. So do we have an answer here? Do we have anything that represents 17? Yes, we do. So here, that's how we get the answer. You see all this working? Consumer questions gonna be the questions that require you to do the most calculations. So look at all of these things we had to do. The first thing we had to do, and I'm doing this because I feel like questions like this is what's gonna come. The mean, you know what mean means? You add up all the numbers and you divide by how much numbers you have. So that's the first thing I wrote. Because we're talking about wages, that's where I put the summation of the wages divided by 20 people is equal to the 2240, that's the mean. But we gotta understand that the wages is for two different groups. What's the two different groups? The two different groups were what? The gardeners, because this is the gardeners, and this was the clerks. So that's where we end up multiplying because they got 12 clerks. Instead of adding what 26 12 times, we just say 12 times 26. And then we know they got 8 clerks, and we don't know the clerk's salary or wage. So that's where we represent it with X. And that's what they ask us to find. So that's what the value we're gonna transpose to locate. All right. So we're moving along. That was 17. 17 was what? C? Yeah. Did I pick it? Yeah. All right, so let's move on to this one. Man's annual salary, and everybody know the word annual means. Annual means for the year, so that's 12 months. So his annual salary is $45,000. His tax-free allowance. Now, what tax-free allowance mean is out of his money, he gonna get taxed, right? But for the first $13,000 of his money, he's not gonna get taxed on. He has to pay a tax of 20% on his taxable income. So what do you think he needs to do? His taxable income is accepting without the 13,000. So if this is how much he get paid and he not getting charged for this, what do we do with these two numbers, everybody? What operation? If this is his total money and this is how much money he get to go away free without being taxed, we subtract. Excellent. So we say 45,000 minus the 13,000, and then we get our 2, we get our 3. So this is how much money this is what we call a taxable income. So since it's the taxable income, this is what the 20% now is going to be found from. And how do we find 20% of any amount? 20 over 100 times the amount over 1. And this is like an easy calculation because all we got to do here, cancel this here first, cancel that. So that means we're just saying 2 times this number, and that's an easy number to double. That would be 6400. Everybody see that? So that means this is the amount he has to get paid. No, I'm going to tell you something. This question has come in this way, a different way. This exact same question has come in different ways. Sometimes it is asked how much he does be left over with after his tax comes out. What do you think you got to do? Which number you think? Obviously, this is what gonna be coming out. One number you think you need to subtract this from. We're gonna subtract it from the 13 or the 32 or the 45. I need everybody to answer that. So what are we gonna subtract this $6,400 from? If this is his tax, and this is a serious question, if they ask how much money is he left back with, one number you're gonna be subtracting from. Guys, no. That's why I asked, guys. No. You know why? Even though this is the difference, even though this is his taxable income, this is just this is just the figure that allows us to tell us how much tax he gonna get. But remember, your tax does come out of what? Your tax gonna come out of your salary. So what is the actual full salary? He's $32,000 is not the money he getting, $32,000 is just the money he getting taxed on. Everybody see the difference? So this money gonna come out of what? It's gonna come out of the 45,000 because remember the $45,000 is his pay. Tell me if you got it. If you got it, and if you don't got it, tell me no. And I hope you see the difference. $32,000 is just the money, his pay, the amount of money he getting taxed on. But when it comes to his salary, this is the money he getting paid. So his tax gonna come out of his money that he getting paid. All right. So don't get tricked because this was a question a lot of students, when they see it, they think it's the same question. So they just remember the 64,000 and they don't read properly and they didn't realize it's not asking for the tax payable. Sometimes they ask how much money he taking home. And if that's the case, that's where you would end up with a different digit. All right, so let's keep it moving. So in this case, our answer would have been B. All right, so let's keep it moving here. We have a salesman sells his car for $1,500 if he's paid a commission. So quick question, everybody remember what commission is? All I need is a quick yes or no so I could know if I need to explain it again. Everybody remember what commission is? Okay, commission is just, okay. So commission, like you see people down Port Zante who does be in the stores that sell clothes. Every time they get a customer to buy something, they get a percentage of how much things the person buys. So if I go in a store and a robber selling and I buy $300 clothes and the commission is 10%, that means a robber gonna get 10% of the 300, which is $30 added to her already normal pay. Everybody see what's going on? I wouldn't even say it's a service charge. It's more so like an incentive payment system for people to get people to buy more. So people who just sell insurance, people who just sell cars, people who just sell in them kind of big luxury companies. The more they sell, the more the paycheck will go up. Okay. So in this case, this salesperson sells cars, right? And the car he sold was for $10,500. If he's paid a commission of 5% for the first 1,000, so what does that mean? If he gets somebody to pay $1,000, he gets 5% automatically. If he gets somebody to spend more, the extra after he passed 10,000, that extra would be 8%. What does that mean? If I have a bill, the bill ain't got to split into two. The first piece gonna be what? What the first piece gonna represent? The first piece gonna represent the 10,000 amount, right or wrong? And if he get 10,000 by minimum, how much percent he gain? 5%. In this case, did he go over the $10,000? Yes or no? Did he sell more than $10,000? So how much money is he gonna get for the 8%? How much over $10,000 did he spend? Now that is the question I need everybody to try. Look at how much money he sell the car for. His first level, the first level is 10,000. How much more than 10,000 did he sell? Excellent. So make sure you understand this. The first $10,000 is for 5%. Anything above, so even if it was 10,100, it would have been 100 extra. If it was 15,000, the first 10 would be 5 and the next 5,000 would be 8. But in this case, it's 10,500. So that's why the 500 is going to be for the 8%. So he say, and the remain, and then the total commission he received. So what we gotta do then, we gotta find 5% of this and then 8% of that. So let's go. 5 over 100. This is easy numbers. Why is this easy numbers? There's a lot of zeros to cancel, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. And then plus the 8 over 100 times the 500 over 1. So let's see how much that gonna give us. So cancel the zeros. So that's what, 500, 5 times 100. So that's 500 plus, cancel the zeros. That's 8 times 5, which is 40. So how much is his total commission? His total commission is $540. So that will be C. If everybody understand that, so got it quickly. All right, let's keep it moving. Very good. A man's basic wage for a 40-hour week. And because of this topic, I want you to immediately draw your WAR triangle. Anybody remember the WAR triangle? WA, which represents wages. We, which is the week, which is the amount of hours he worked, and the rate is how much money he get per hour. So this is gonna help you know whether you got to be multiplying or dividing, right? And then you should also know certain words like time and a half is you multiply the rate by 1.5. Time and a quarter is 0.25. Double is 2. So let's see what we got here. A man works 40 hours. So 40 hours would represent the week. So that's the week. So the week is 40. And his wage, so we got WA, is equal to 160. He is paid $5 per hour for overtime. He is paid $5 per hour for overtime. If he works 6.5 hours overtime in a week, then his wage for the week is, so his basic wage is already 160. So it's gonna be the basic wage plus the overtime wage, right? Overtime. How do we calculate the overtime? We know how much money he getting per hour for overtime, 5, and he works 6.5. What's a different way of saying 6.5? 6.5 would be what? 6.5, right? Now, let me show you what's a quick way to multiply this. The same way like I teach you. How do we break down 6.5? 6 plus 0.5 times 5. So you say 6 times 5 is what? 6 times 5 is 30. Everybody with me? And a half times 5 is what? Into 50. Everybody see how I did that quick? Half of $5 is 250. So that means the overtime is $32.50. Nobody got time for you to go multiply all of these things because they're gonna take too long. That gives you more time to work out how the question, yeah? So this is our overtime. So that means that's 160 plus the 32.50. So that gonna give us 192.50. And our answer is right there. All right, that would be D. Guys, give me a minute. I need to go and make an emergency phone call. Something my mom just messaged me and I just need to call her back quickly, if that's okay. Okay, is that okay? Just give me 10 minutes. I'm gonna send a text when to check back in, but don't go far. I just need to make sure my mom okay. Hey guys, I'm back. So I'm gonna send a message just to let everybody know. Ready again. Um, mm, all right. So once you are here, just give me a little, just say here, so I can know if majority of persons are here. So I'll start back, great. Also, this is just a little thing that you need to know. Do not get comfortable. If you know when you did the quiz, you didn't do so good, put pressure on it now. Pressure yourself now. Push yourself now. So close to the exam, all you're supposed to be doing is like fixing your little weaker areas and the little mistakes that you're making. Don't wait until the night before the exam to then try to cram all these things and try to like strengthen all these things. Do it as soon as possible. Okay. So let me see more people trying to quiz them several times. Let me see people messaging me. And then, do you guys still have the booklets with the paper ones that I gave y'all? The one with 1 to 100 that y'all had marked? Even those are good practices as well. Okay, I hope I know what I mean. The little booklets that I had print, and I need them back, by the way, so don't forget. The day we have the mock exam, you're gonna have to bring them back for me. All right, so let's jump right back into it and hopefully everybody check back in soon. So where were we? We did this one. A calculator which is marked at $120 is sold for cash at 30% discount. How much change? So you see that means that's two different things. That means I have to find the cost price and then I have to find the change after $100 is paid. So first let's find sorry. First, let's find the 30% and then subtract. Also, do you know that a shorter way is just finding 70% of this? But this one might be easier. Finding 30% might be easier for a lot of people, so let's stick to the 30%. So 30%, 30 out of 100 times 120 over 1. As we know, we cancel our zeros. That's easy thing. So we got 3 times 12. So the discount is $36. What do we do with the $36? We subtract it from 120. So I don't know why I did that line there. So once we subtract the 36, you should know you borrow 1. So this, and people just make mistakes with this all the time. Please don't be one of them. Pay attention. So 6 from 10 is 4. And then instead of 12, it can be 3 from what? 11. And 3 from 11 is what? 8. It's 8, right? But this is not the answer. They ask how much would the change be after take away from 100. So 84 from 100. Borrowed, I put a 9, 10. So that's 6. That's 1. So your answer is $16. So your answer is A. All right, let's keep it moving. Oh, sorry, baby. Where is it? That's okay. I only did one question. I only did the one with the discount. So we only did just one so far. So we're gonna move on here. For every $100 sales or part thereof. No, this is a tricky question. Anytime you see for every or for per, that means division. Everybody hear what I said? Anytime you hear for every or the word per, it means to divide. So they're saying for every $100 sales, a salesman is paid $10. Okay? And for each one that you get, so your answer after you divide, you multiply by the $10. If his sales for a particular month is this money, which is what? 1,020. What I mean, because it's for every, that means we're going to divide by 100. Everybody with me? So we need to find out how much units he could make because every unit is $10. So because this is divided by 100, you see they make it easy. You put your point to the back and you jump how much times? Twice. 1, 2. So that means how much units he got? 10.2 units. And for every unit, how much money he making? $10. So that means we got to multiply by 10. That means we got to move the point one more time to the right. You realize this is just a lot of points. Jumping once is 100 or 10, and anything with that ends in a zero. So that means our answer is $102. The answer is C. I have a quick question. Is this shortcut method that I am showing you helping y'all to figure out these things faster? Are they useful to you? Okay, okay, no problem. I just want to make sure, right? Because I just want to make sure. Because I know some of you, a lot of people would have gone into a lot of division and a lot of thing that is unnecessary, right? So that's why, especially for this topic, class was very important, okay? All right, so let's keep it moving, guys. Simple interest, because it's simple interest, the first thing you should write is your formula. P times R times T over 100. But they said the value of T. And remember, we got different formulas for the R. If they want a formula for T, that means it's always SI times 100 over the other two. So if they want T, we're going to be at the bottom, the P and the R. So that's the T formula. If they want the R, it's always the same thing at the top, SI, which is a simple interest times 100 over the other two. So if I want R, what letter is going to be at the bottom, guys? Quickly. So in this case, we want R. So what two letters going to be at the bottom? Remember, I want R, so R can't be at the bottom. So you're going to have to be the other two, which is P and T. Okay? So because we want T this time, we're going to use the first one. So all we got to do is substitute accordingly. So it says the simple interest on 600. How much it for T years at 5% is 120? I have a serious question. What is the simple interest figure? Because this question is rip up everybody. Let's go. What's the value of the simple interest? That's only 200. That's only two people, three people. Let's go. Take a guess. What about everybody else? Excellent job, everyone. So that means the formula for this is gonna be, oh, okay, if my pen would stop. So SI is 120. What is P? Let's do quickly. Let's go too quickly. What's P? P represents principal. Excellent. That will be the 600. Very good. R is what? The percent, which is 5, and T is questionable. So all we got to do is substitute. So SI is 120, so it's 120 times 100 or 100 times 120 over 600 times 5. So that's how the answer is B. So very good. I'm actually very, very impressed that everyone was able to read that question properly and substitute. Because a lot of people would have thought simple interest is 600. That's a mistake people often make. So that makes me feel good that everyone was able to read that properly. Very good. All right, let's do another one. Let's see what's going on here. It's a lot of words. At a bank, 260 EC is equivalent to 1 US. So this is another conversion that people surprisingly just get wrong, yeah? For every $100 exchanged, what does for every mean again? per, which means division, right? Excellent. And luckily for us, it's just by one, right? So when you see the word per or for every, it's two things you always got to do. You got to divide the first thing that they give you, and then you got to multiply by the second thing that they give you. Don't forget that. So they say for every, so that means this is the division number. The next number they give you is your what? Your multiplication number. Everybody see what's going on? Is deducted. How many EC dollars will Leon receive if he exchanges $1,000? Now, luckily for us, you see, you realize what CXC does here, though. What they do is they give you a lot of numbers like 1,000 and 0.1, so to make it easier. Everybody see what's going on? So it's just for you to remember and understand the rules. So let's first do what the first thing you got to do, you got to convert this first, because our answer asks for EC dollars. So we know it's 2.60 times 1,000. How much times we jump in the point here? 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And in this empty space, we put a 0. So we're going to end up with $2,600. But that's not how much money he getting. Everybody realize that's an answer? He is going to get less than this. Why is he getting less than this? Because for every dollar he gets, how much money he got to get deducted by? He got to get deducted by 10 cents. So that means we got to multiply this by 10 cents. Because why? If I divide this by $1, it ain't going to be the same thing. If this was $2, then you know you have to divide by 2, because if for every, that's the division number. But in this case, you divide it by 1. Now, anybody know how to multiply this? 2,660. What is this as a fraction? This ain't 1/10 as a fraction, or 10 out of 100. Anybody see what I mean? This is 10 cents. This ain't 10 out of 100. So it's the same thing as doing this. So what I could do here is cancel one of these zeros. So what it's going to end up doing to this number ain't canceling one of the zeros, because this is going to end up being 2,600, because times 1 divided by 10. So that means how much he end up getting deducted? How much money coming out? $260 coming out. So how much money will he receive? So you got to take the 2,600 minus the $260. So let's do that. Borrow. A lot of people got this wrong in general. So that's 4, that's 3, that's 2. Hold on there. Let me see what's going on here. Something went wrong somewhere. For every dollar he exchanged, 10 cents. 10 cents is 1/10, so you divide by 10. So that means 200, because that would be like 10%. Yeah. 10% is tax. So he will receive 200, and then you deduct the 260 tax. Unless I make a mistake subtracting somewhere. Let me see what they said the correct answer is. How much EC dollars will Leon receive if he exchanges? Sometimes, CXC just got mistakes, huh? So let me see. C? What is that C? $2,500? That's a mistake. This question got a mistake. Did everybody understand what we did here? Yeah, there's a mistake with this one. It could never be $2,500, because $2,500 would mean we subtract $100 as tax. How could it be $100 times tax? It would be 100 US. Anybody realize the mistake here? Think about it. 10% of $1,000 would be $100, right? But there is 100 US. But 100 US, it gonna still be the same thing, because 100 US ain't gonna be $260. And if you take away the EC from the EC, so the mistake for this exam was that they subtract the US quantity from the EC quantity and they put an answer, but that's not correct. Hello? Y'all here? So this exam question has a mistake. Yeah. Because even when I did it the other way, by just finding 10% of the East, the US, and I subtracted, yeah, it would be 900 US. Honestly, physically, the answer is 900 US, but they ain't actually answering US, they actually answering EC. So what is, if you take a calculator and put 2.60 times 900 US, you're going to see the same thing that we just got, and the answer is not here. So I don't know. No, it happens like that sometimes, as we know. All right, so there we go. A calculator which is marked. Wayne do this exact question before. He pays for the calculator $100 bill. So do we need to calculate this question or we know the answer already? What's the answer for this one? If we got good memory, that's a great thing. I want to know if I got good memory. Excellent. The answer was A. Very good. That's a repeated question. A man, I realize another for every question. So let's go. A man pays 60 cents for every 200 meters gas. So let me ask you a question. Is the two operation, division and the times. Which one of them two numbers is the division number? This is a for every question. What does a for every question means? We just talk about it. A for every question means you got to do two things. You got to do two things. You got to divide and then you got to multiply. We got two numbers here. Which one is the number you're going to divide by and which one is the number you're going to multiply by? But this is meant, it was given to you this way for a reason. It say a man pays 60 cents for every 200. Which one is the one he's going to divide by? Which number? Okay, Nadia said 200. Gav says 60. Come on, let's go everybody else. Let me see what you're thinking. Kat says 60. Trev says 60. Okay, it says 60. Only one person right then. The number that they tell you for every, don't forget what I teach you. They literally switch this question intentionally for students to get confused. The word, anytime they say for every, the for every number is a division number. And didn't I say that? The for every number is the division number. And then the next number is your multiplication. They just switch it. They just put it the multiplication number first. Everybody understand what I'm saying? The for every or the per, if they had said per 200, that number would have been your division number. So in this case, what do? We divide by 200 and then we multiply by 60 cents. Do I multiply by 60 or do I multiply by 0.60? That's our next question. This is the mistake people will do. People will go and literally multiply by 60. But should I multiply by 60 when they tell us 60 cents? That's what I need I to also pay attention to. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. So let's go. If he pays $178 when he uses 558 meters of gas, how much is the fixed charge? So let's go. What the first thing we got to do? We got to take this 55000 and divide it by what? Divided by 200, right? How do we know this? Because this is meters cube and this is meters cube. That's a kind of hint as well. You divide that to find how much units. So let's divide this, cancel your zeros. And then you say 2 into 550. No, this is how you should think about doing this. You know how much is half of 500. What is half of 500? 250. Because I would split this. I would split this to 500 plus 50. So I would divide 500 by 2, which is 250. And 50 divided by 2 is 25. So what is half of 550? Half of 550 is 275. Everybody see how I got that? So I did that quickly. Okay. Now, what do we do with this number? Now we multiply by 60. How to do this fast? Let me move this up here. 275 by 60. Everybody know you multiply 0, 0, 0, 0 because you multiply by 0. Because you multiply by 60 now, you put your 10 first. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 3 is 45. 6 times 2 is 12, is 17. How much decimal places did I, sorry, not, it shouldn't go there. With the decimal point should, because this is 0.60. Everybody see what I'm trying to do? This is not supposed to be there. That's where the decimal point here. So that means, because it's 60 cents we're multiplying by, where do I put my decimal point? I need 2 DPs. So this is 0 DPs. So we go 1, 2. So that's $174. What does that mean? We need to find out how much extra, the extra money is the fixed charge. So what do I do with these two numbers? A, subtract it. So 178.75, we minus, so I get 75 cents for, I multiply something wrong? Back check that for me. The 45, where? 6 times 5 is 30. Yeah, I think I make a mistake. Which one? 6 times 5 is 42, 45. Yeah, correct. So where should be the 5? Hold on. So that's true. 6 times is 42, 43, 44, 45. This should be a 5. This should be a 5, yeah. Sorry, this confusing me. Let me just do it over. Hold on. What two numbers we multiplying? 275 by 60 cents. Right? So let's go again. I'm kind of tired, so forgive me. So this was 0, 0, 0. Everybody following? And y'all supposed to be paying attention to help me too, you know. Like I'm a human, I make mistakes. Okay, so y'all supposed to be also vigilant. So we're gonna put a 0 first. 6 times 5 is 30. We add a 3, we put a 0, we add carry over the 3, right? 6 times 7 is 42. So we're gonna get 42, 43, 44, 45. So we add the 5 here and carry over the 4, right? We're going good so far? Then 6 times 2 is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. So this number is too big here. So this should be 165 minus. Oh, let me tell you, you see this question? This question has come a lot, but it has changed the different ways. So that means we're subtracting 160 because it's 2 decimal places from this. Okay, let's see if that helps, right? 5, 7. This is going to give us a 3. This is going to give us a 1. Oh, the answer is there, 1375. Let's see if it's correct. A? Excellent, it's A. If you got it, you got it. But everybody realize the two operations, we divide by the 200 and then we multiply by the 60 cents. Okay. All right, good job. Good job, Gab, for finding the error. Thank you very much. I appreciate it highly. Okay. All right, let's keep it moving. A plot of land presently valued at 12. I like that we got this question because there's always an appreciation or depreciation question. Appreciation means after you find the percentage each year you add on, and a depreciation means after each year you subtract. Okay. So it says the current value is $12,000 and it appreciates. That means it's getting bigger in value at the rate of 2.5 per annum. That means every year. What will be the value of the plot of land 1 year later? No, I like how they say 1 year later, but I'm going to also show you what would happen if they ask for 2 years later. So pay attention. Remember, I was telling you that we don't really stress too much about consumer for paper 2 because a lot of questions just come for paper 1. So we're going to say 2.5 over 100 times 12,000 over 1, right? Because we're going to find out what value it increased by. This is the increased value. So as we know, we cancel it to zeros. So all we got to do is multiply by this. Now watch this. This number is 120, which is 12 times 10. Everybody see that? When you multiply this number by 10, what's going to happen to it? It's going to move from 2.5 to 25, right or wrong? So that means this really is 25 times 12. Everybody see how I break down this number to make it easier? Talk to me. Instead of trying to multiply by that big number there, to multiply smarter and faster. So we're going to multiply this by 12. This is what I really just want to make sure y'all get. How to calculate smarter and faster. So let's go. 2 times 5 is 10. Everybody paying attention in case I make a mistake. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10. We carry over the 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times plus 1 is 5. Also, you should also be making sure if you could do this on your own. So we add the 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. So we add. So that's a 0. That's a 0. Carry over the 1. That's 300. Right? Everybody see? So that means, what am I going to do with this $300, everybody? Am I not going to add it on to the original year? So that means the end of year 1 going to be the 12,000 plus the 300. So they're going to be 12,300. Now, suppose they say at the end of year 2. So that's year 1. So that means year 2 now, we got new beginning quantity. So it's the same percent now. So if I was to calculate year 2, this is what we'll have to do again. So it'll be 12.5, 2.5 over 100. But what is the new quantity or the new value of the land for the next year? It ain't going to be 12,000 or more because remember, every year it goes up. So it's going to change. So you're going to use the new value, the 12,300, and then you're going to work it out, get your answer. And what you're going to do with this number and add it on to this one here. Everybody see what's going on? I hope I listening, because these questions is coming, and if I see it come, I should be thinking, yeah, my students got this. Or I should see, because as we see in paper 2, every single thing on that paper we did, not a thing come on that paper that we ain't do, okay? All right, there we go. A loan of 8,000 was paid back in 2 years in monthly installments of 400. The interest on the loan as a percent is. Now, anytime they tell you to calculate something as a percent, you put a thing over the original cost. So for example, if it's the interest, you put the interest over the principal and you change it to a percent. So let's go. We got to find out though how much money we actually paid. Because obviously we would never pay back 8,000. It would always be more than 8,000 because it's a loan, right? So we got to find out how much that is. So let's go. 400. Anybody could tell me why I got to multiply this by if it was 2 years? If the monthly installment is 400, what number am I multiplying by? Excellent. Everybody agree? And see why it's not 2, because some people would have gone and multiplied by 2. It's 24 months because it's 2 years. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So we're going to just multiply 24 by 4 and then add on 2 zeros. That's the fastest way. 4 times 4 is 16. Right? 4 times 2 is 8, 9. And then I just add on 2 zeros. Watch how I did that. I just multiply by the 4 and then I add on 2 zeros. So this is how much we actually pay back. So what is the interest? If the original loan was 8,000 and I end up paying back 9,600, how do we find the interest in? Subtract. So the interest is 1,600, but they want the interest. So if they had asked for the interest, that would have been the answer. But they want the interest as a what? Percent. So what did I say to do? When you're changing something as a percent, you put the thing that they ask you to change as a percent over the original number. What is the original loan? The original amount for the loan was what? in the 8,000. So in this case, what two numbers we're going to use? Because that's the two parts students get confused by. You take the interest because that's what they ask for. So if it was a loss, you're going to put a loss over the original price. If they say express the profit as a percent, it's the profit over the original price. So in this case, it would be the 1,600 over the 8,000 times anything you want to change to a percent, you multiply it by 100 over 1. So this is just a bunch of zeros we're going to be canceling, right? Cancel, 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 cancel. So now look at this now. 8 into itself once, 8 into 16 goes twice, but we still got 0. So what is my final answer? My final answer is 20% D. If you got it, say got it. 20. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to try to do another exam today. I'm going to try to do one exam once a day, every day, just so that it's not overwhelming. So that means we got class tomorrow just for an hour, just to do the second paper, to do algebra tomorrow, because, algebra is a big topic. So we almost finished this. And tomorrow we're going to do algebra, Tuesday, and that's what I'm going to try to do. Versus, and when we could do two, we could do two, because I'm personally not feeling my best. So I'm gonna send you guys the other three. So if you got a little energy and you want to try the next three or try one more, do that. For any questions from before that you didn't do, try to do them. That's the only way you're gonna get prepared. Doing it, and if you could do it 10 times, do it 10 times. I understand what I'm saying. Hello? Hi, listening to me? I hope I just listen to me, People who just listen to me just pass. That's all I'm gonna say. And this is your last chance to listen to me. This is your last chance to do what I say. Okay. All right. An article, and look at this is exactly what we just spoke about just now. An article bought for 125 was sold for 175. The profit as a percent, because they want the profit as a percent. What I mean, ain't gonna be the profit over the cost price times 100 over 1. So what would be the profit here? We subtract 125 from 175. That's easy. So that's 50 over what's the cost price? Which one you're going to choose? The 125 or the 175? What you going to put it over? Talk to me. So God said 125. What else y'all choose? Because this is the part where everybody does make the mistake. So everybody, let's go. Which one you choosing? You're gonna put a 50 out to the 125 R. And if you didn't know where I get 50 from, 50 came from 175 minus 125. That's the SP minus the CP. That's how we find the profit. So that's 125 times 100 over 1. So I could break this down easy because these two got something in common. They got 25 in common. 25 can go into this 2 times. 25 can go into this 5 times. If I got a dollar quart, how much quarts? That's 5 quarts in it. Yeah. And then 5 can go into itself once, and 5 can go into 120 times. So 2 times 20 is 40%. So our answer is B. All right. As we get to these bold questions, I know we're coming down to the end, because these questions that are bolded came from the June 2024 exam. So that's the last year June exam. So let's go. A bank receives, this in the same damn question? Anyway, let me tell you, I know, see, if this question come back again, just pick C. Oh God. Hold on there. Are you hearing me? I think I'll look up this question and see what's going on. I don't know if I'm missing something, because as far as I know, this 10, oh, hold on. It's the same thing. It's EC. It's still 10%. It's 10% EC though, of the EC. 10% of the EC would still give me yeah, it's still wrong. Again, online to look up this and see what's going on. Because the full amount without the discount, without the tax is this. So how could it be 100 less when the EC equivalent is not that? Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna look into this question, guys, and get back to you. But just in case they come back with the error and they don't have the right answer, just put C. Yeah, all right. Address cost, this is being sold at 10% discount. What is the discount? That's easy. 10 out of 100. Yeah, a lot of these questions will be repeated, and that's why I decided to compile them, because once we go through it, it's highly likely to be repeated. But like I tell you, when I saw the January paper one actually was a lot of new questions. So that's what I tell you, don't try to study the exam like questions coming back, because we don't know. And we don't want to get caught off guard, right? The county is zeros, so 18 times 10 is 180. The amount of discount is 180, so that's C. Okay. I'm feeling so sick. 7,000 is borrowed at a rate of 500. The simple interest would be, that's easy, PRT over 100. So that would be, do which one over? The one from before? Let's go. 1,800, right? It's being sold for 10%. So that's 10 out of 100. Following? Remember, they asked for the discount. They asked what the discount is. So let's go. If I cancel the two zeros, what can be left back? 10 times 18. Anything times 10, you add a zero. You see it now? Yeah. All right. Too easy. No problem, no big. All right, so let's do this one. As I was saying, what was saying? PRT over 100. All of them is multiplication. So P, this would be our P, this would be our R, and this would be our T. Also, don't forget to pay attention that the T must be in years. If they give you months, I taught you how to do months. So let's say they say 4 months. 4 months out of 12. That's the decimal. 4 divided by 12. That would be a T, is a fraction. Everybody with me? If you got it, say got it. Pay attention. If they ask you for simple interest and they give you months, you got to put the months as a fraction because it must be in years. All right. So in this case, they give us years, so it's just 3. So this would be 7,000 times 5 times 3. Now, I, as a man over 100, would work smart. I would don't cancel out these zeros here. Back, to that gone. So that means I have 70 times 5 times 3. So you could choose which one easier for you. I would say 3 times 7 is 21. Add a 0 from the 70 and then multiply this by 5. 21 times 5 is easy because what is that? 20 times 5 is 100, and then you add an extra 5, that's 105. And then you add a 0. Anybody see how I did that? 21 times 5 is 105. How did I get it? If 25s is 100 and I add another 5, because remember I want 21 groups of 5. If 20 groups is 100 and I need one more 5, I just add another 5. That's how I would get 21 times 5, which is 105. And then because it's 210, I just add a 0 at the end. If you got it, say got it. So our answer here is D. We working smart, not hard. This only comes with practice. So the truth is, the next time you do this paper, try to practice these shortcuts. Try to practice these skills that I'm teaching you, because at the end of the day, that's what is going to help you in the exam when you're strong. You see how I doing that? You see why they're doing it? Ba, 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 ba. That's how you should be in the exam. You should never be sitting and pausing and being like, what to do, like how to do this. No. And you only could get like that from practice. You want to pass maths with a 3 at least, you have to get 55 out of 60 minimum. Okay. An article bought for 125 was sold for $100. So that means a loss percent. How do you do a loss percent again? Loss over the cost price times 100 over 1. What will be our loss here? Our loss is 25, right? So it's 25 over, which one you put it over? 125 or 100? Quickly, my loves. 125 or 100? I'm watching the chat. We're going good, guys. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. You tell me where I get 125 from. The article was bought for 125 and sold for 100. You tell me where the 25 come from. You tell me how you just find loss in the same way you find profit. You subtract. Come on. You stop playing these easy things, make you forget. Says over 125. This look kind of similar. Doesn't this look kind of similar? Nah, man, no need for shame. Just gotta keep it locked in, right? Keep it locked in. So let's go 5 into its 25 into itself once, 25 into this 5 times, 5 into itself once, 5 into 120. So this is 20%. So your answer is A. Hopefully this is becoming a lot easier. I'm gonna go back and check everybody's scores again. And after everybody finish all the quizzes, I will let everybody to try again. Please don't let me begging people to be doing it. Just do it on your own. I should just go on the website and say, what? My training practicing? Yeah, like make me feel good now, man. Let me end off on a good note. The cash price is $350. We ain't do this one already? We did this. It was 35 plus 12 times 30. And then when we get to really subtract, that was the answer. I got good memory because I can be honest with you, I didn't remember. Hey, I got good memory, period. All right, just save me there. If the simple interest on $900 that is, what is the T? So let's go. T is equal to SI times 100 over P times R. So that would be 108 times 100 over 900 times 4. So let's do this quick. This divided by this divided by that. Now watch this here now too. 9 into 108 in 12. Watch this now again. 4 into itself once, 4 into 12 in 3. So your answer is 3. Lot of canceling. If you know your tables, you'll be able to bust through that quick. All about your tables. At the end of any year, a car is worth 5% less. So this is where we talk about the depreciation. So let's see what's going on here. So it's 5%. It depreciates at 5%. So every year it loses 5%. If a car is worth $19,000 in December 2021, then its value in January 2021 is, oh, this is a good question. Everybody, what do you think the answer for this is? It ain't gonna be the same. People. Oh, I know this is a trick question. Let me see if that's the answer. I will put the same. Let me see. Maybe it's a trap. B, that's how I know this wrong. It could never be more, so that's wrong. Hold on there. Yeah, all these answers wrong. Wait. Oh, shucks, I didn't read it. I thought it said January 2022. I thought it was the year after. So that means early in the year. Okay, yes. Oh my God. It's supposed to be more. Yes, because it ended off the year is the same year. So this is the end, so that's why it's less. Okay. Yeah. I read that wrong. So there we go. I thought it was the year. So we need to find 5%. Mm. This is a bit tricky. How do I explain this? Because at the beginning, you're going to be at 100%, and at the end, you're going to be at 95%, right? So I think this is like finding the original price. So I think this would be, the formula for this is 100 over 95% times 19000. This is so hard to calculate. So what would be the faster way to calculate this? I'm not gonna tell no lies. Everybody understand where I get this formula from? Let me see if you at least understand. Oh, yes, sorry. I taught you this when I taught you how to find the original price of something. The original ain't gonna be 100, and what it gave us is 95. We ended up the year with 95% because it dropped by 5%. You ain't gonna calculator. You know what to do with this? It's a lot of stress. Yeah, you ain't gonna choice him. But it ain't just that, it's about this division here. I'm trying to see if I could find another way to another way to find this answer here. This is a lot. So let me see. Let me see. Let's do it the long way. Jesus. All right, ready? If I with me, I'm willing to try. We in this together? Ooh. Only Gav say yes. Thank you, Siddharth. Like only me and you in this together. But the rest of them ain't saying nothing. Let me do the top first. The top is just more add two more zeros. So if we got, because we gotta do long division, eh? We got 190, we got 3 zeros so far. If we multiply by 100, we're doing 2 more. And now we're gonna divide by 95. So let's go together. The first thing I'm gonna do is add 95 and 95 to see something. 0, 18, 190. Oh shit. Look how easy that is. Actually, they're so smart with these numbers. Anybody realize 2 times 95 is 190? So look at this now. If 2 times, oh, they only make it look hard. Oh, they're smart. Anybody else here? Hello? Guys? Cuckoo. Are you still here? Anybody see the setup? They make it look like this is a hard question. Even me, I was like, oh my God. But now I do it, I realize it ain't that hard. Because 2 times 95 is 190. So this would be 2, and this would be 190. And then all of this would just be zeros going back here. So that's how we get B. Okay, wow. That's why sometimes it's not good to panic. Just do the work. When you do the work, you'd realize it's not as hard. So that's a perfect example of that. Just so. That was actually so easy. Yikes. As we say B, what did I switch these here? It should be B. All right. A man pays $8. We into this? Overtime is twice. So if overtime is twice, that means overtime is $16. He was paid $480. How many overtime hours did he work? So that's easy. Let's go. 8 times 40. Let's see how much is regular pay supposed to be. So times 8, 0, 4 times 8 is 32. So that means this is his normal pay. So that means we're going to say 480 minus 320. So that's 0. That's 6. That's 1. So that means his overtime pay was $160. What is his overtime rate? His overtime rate is twice. So instead of $8 an hour, how much an hour he gained? He gained $16 an hour. So when we divide this by 16, 16 into itself goes once. So that's what? 10 hours. Everybody see how we get 10? Hello? All right, moving along. Address cost this. I think we did this amount. The discount amount would be $18. I think I remember this one. I think we had the last exam. So that's C. Remember, I showed you how to find 10% of that. This is a repeated question. This too is also a repeated question. So the answer would have been what, $10 again? Yup. This was a repeated question. The commission question. So if it's $1 for every dollar, so that's divided by 1. So that means 10% of this, you move your 0.1, so that's $102. We did this exact question already. So that's C. All these questions are repeated questions. This one too, this one you look familiar? What would the answer? Let me make sure 6.5 hours. The answer was D, in it. Yep. Anybody realizing this year was all repeated questions so far? A television 350. Didn't we do this one just now? 45. If you could go through one of these papers and you could do this, that means you're gone clear. You're gone clear. All right, let's go again. At the end of the year, car is worth 5% less than it was at the beginning of the year. This is the same thing, but with a different number. But it's just with a different number. It's the same thing, but it's with a different number. Anybody realize this? So this is the same thing. 95 over 100 times 9. Anybody seen this is the same exact thing? But just with different numbers. So you just add on 2 zeros. So 95000. And you add on 2 more zeros. Because shit, I didn't realize I write this wrong. And not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be 100 over because it's the original price. It's 100 over 95. Yeah, and divide this by 95. So let's go. When I divide this by 95, this going once, and then you add all the extra zeros. So that's how we get this. So your answer is C. Look how much easier that is. Anybody understand what's going on here? Everybody see that? It's the same exact thing, but just with different numbers. So it's 100. When you have to find the original or the price before the change, you always put it by 100 by the price percentage change. Okay. And then I think this is the last two. A loan was paid back 24 equal installments at 75, the total interest as a percent. We did this one with different numbers. So let's go. So 24 times 750. So let's go. 0, 4 times 5 is 20. 7 times 4 is 28. That's 30. Is that correct? Sorry, somebody check for me now. Yeah, because 75 is 150, 150 is 300. That's correct. Okay. 0, and then that would be a 0, and then that would be a 0, and then that would be a 15. So we can get 18000. That's how much we're gonna get. pay back. And then they said they want the interest. How do we find the interest? So if this is how much we pay back the bank, and this is what we took, the interest is the extra money. So that would be the 3,000. So we're going to put the 3,000 over the original amount. What was the original amount? 15,000 times 100 over 1. Cancel, 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 cancel. 3 into itself goes once. 3 into 15 goes 5 times. 5 into itself goes once. 5 into 100, 20 times. So the answer is 20 again. CX, you kind of trying to troll us. Anybody realizing it's always coming back to 20%? But don't ever take it for granted. They'll work it out. Always work it out. We're almost done. Oh my God. We did this one already. The fixed charge was 1375A, so we don't got to calculate that. This is an example of a question I was telling y'all about. You see how they say every year is decreased by 10% for 2 years. So this is, I want to do this one because it's important. It starts out at 6,000. So 10% times 100 by 6,000. So you cancel the zeros. So they're gonna decrease by 600. So that means at the end of the year, year one is equal to 6,000 minus 600. So that would be 5,400. But because it's said 2 years, we gotta subtract again. So we're gonna find 10% now of the new value, which is 5,400. So that's gonna give me $540. So we're gonna subtract 540 from the 540. So 4,000 minus, oh, I just realized making a space. 5,400 minus 540. So we borrow, this will become a 3. This will become a 1. So this is 0, 6, borrow 4, 38, 4. So that's the answer. The answer is B. C. Sorry. Everybody see how I did that? Find the first year. That's the new value. You find it again. Subtract. That's how you find 2 years. That's the depreciation. All right. And the last question. Compound interest is the same thing, guys. The only thing about compound interest is that instead of subtracting, what you think you're going to do for compound interest, you're going to do what? Add. Should I do this last one? Should I do it? Sorry. All right, let's go. So it says 10%. I love when it's 10%, for 10% is easy. 10% is 10 over 100 times the 12,000, right? So let's see what's the interest after. It's compound interest means it's increasing, so you're adding on. So what he said, compounded what? The compound interest on compounded annually is trying to understand the language. It's kind of hard, but let's see. Let's see. For 2 years, sorry. I'm so tired I didn't see the 2 years. So it's going to be the 120 times 10, which is 1,200. So what we can do with this, we can add it on, right? So 1,200 plus 1,200. So that will give me 1,3,200. So that's my new money value. So I got to find 10% of that now and add it again. So 10% of that times 1,3,200 over 1. Cancel. Is 1,320. So now we're gonna add on this to that. Just let me go here. 1,3,200, 1,320. So that'll be 0,2,541. So your answer is gonna be D. Oh, shucks. I read the question wrong. They said it compounded. So that means we gotta add Anybody realize they didn't say what is the value of the money? They asked for the interest. You see why reading is important? So you got to add the two interests. Sorry about that. Everybody see what I mean? If you got it, say got it. So that's why you gotta really read. They ask for the compound interest. So that's why you find the interest in the first year. This is year one, and this is the interest for year two, and then you add it. Okay. So that's it for the consumer question. Like I said, tomorrow we're gonna have class for one. Actually, no, because I have my post farmers from 4 to 6. So it's up to you guys. We could have class on Tuesday, 5 to 6:30. Oh, that's on. So we get tomorrow off for y'all to try to finish up and catch up. And then we got class on Tuesday and Wednesday. That sounds like a plan? All right, so I'm gonna try to download these things now, and I'm gonna send you guys the last 3 exams for those guys. Please, 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 for me, for you, not just for me. Please try to practice these quizzes. Class on Thursday, most likely, if so, online. I would like this week for us to finish practicing these things so that we could go on to doing full questions, like full past papers. The faster we finish this, the faster we could do so. All right, so that's it for today, guys. See you guys on Tuesday. I'll send everything tonight. Bye.